Good evening. Welcome to the Degenerate Sports Talk, where this place has gone completely to the dogs this week already, and we haven't even started recording properly. I'm Paul Robinson. I'm your host. As always, I'm joined by my three cohorts from across the pond, Jason, Ken, and everybody's favorite redneck, John Gaskins. Evening, guys. As always, it's nice to see you all, you bunch of retards. All right, we're going to get straight into this because Gaskins, get the swear jar ready. This week, you may have to spot me $20. I'm pissed. And
Are we using euros, pounds, or dollars?
No, good old American dollars this week, my friend. We'll skip the euros. It's not a real currency, much like the American dollar. It is basically monopoly money anyway. So there you go. So, and quite frankly, British pound sterling is still worth more than the American dollar, but we'll get to that at some point in the not too distant future. This week, the MLB and the MLBPA have obviously been in apparently productive talks about the CBA bargaining agreement. And some things I've read on various platforms like ESPN and Bleacher Report and a few other different places that I frequent have all reported that Assistant Commissioner Dan Halem on Monday, this is as literally the first set of meetings on Monday, turned around and said that the league is willing to lose money and regular season games to literally push through their agenda with the outstanding, discussions with regards to the CBA. Now, honest to God, up until this week, I didn't know who Dan Halem was. Obviously, everybody's eye towards the Major League Baseball's commissioner's office is normally aimed directly square in between the eyes and the heart of Rob Manfred. We all know Manfred is basically there as, the puppet of the owners and is a general douchebag in charge. But for an assistant commissioner to come out and say, we don't give a monkeys about the money, basically what he's saying is you either agree to what we're going to give you or you can get stuffed and we ain't going to play any regular season games. This to me is from the owners, especially, as well as the commissioner's office. This, for me, is negotiating in severe bad faith to start off negotiations this week. Obviously, there's some other bits and pieces that have come about. But this also led to the Players Association backing down on things like the arbitration year rulage. They were pushing for 3 years down to 2. They've completely scrapped going after that now at this point, which is annoying. They've weakened their bargaining position by asking for less money for the Major League Baseball's minimum wage structure. They wanted $6.75. I think they went down to about $5.90 something, if I remember reading that right a couple of days ago. They haven't fought at all for any kind of playoff. The playoffs are going against service time regulations. Just completely gave that one up. And there's a massive discrepancy between what the Players Association want and what the Major League Baseball want for regards to the luxury tax threshold. We'll get to those numbers later on. But opening salvos this week, obviously the negotiations are getting pushed through now at a rapid pace because of the looming threat of losing games anyway. This threat from the Assistant Commissioner Halem, I got to be honest with you, it kind of wants me to take him around the back of the woodshed and smack him around the head with a skillet. It really does. I mean, it goes without saying, him and Manfred are obviously two peas in the pod. And, I'm pissed. These are the types of people that the Players Association are having to deal with and then having to back down from. As a player, if I was a minor league player, I'd be pissed at the Player Association for yet again throwing the minor leaguers under the bus, let alone the threat of this kind of stature. Am I the only one, or am I barking up the wrong tree with you three at this point? Somebody speak. Come on. One of you's going to say something.
Have you changed your argument yet? It's pretty much the same thing every week with you. Like, we get it. We get it. No matter what the politics are, no matter what gets broke down, bottom line is again, Gaskins was right. We're looking more June. Okay, sorry Sorry, man. Like, it's just, it's bogus. Like, you should have better things to worry about than them, because you're going to get yourself in a tizzy and never come out.
I think I'm in the same boat as a lot of fans here that think, quite frankly, that baseball is the sport that we want to watch. Baseball, baseball got off to a really good hot streak in November. Hot stove was literally boiling over at one stage. And these are the types of things that are just going to annoy the piss out of people, and it's going to kill the sport of baseball. The fans aren't going to come back after this. This isn't like, again, I know I've said it before, this isn't like the 95 stoppage. We didn't have social media back then. We only got what we got in the newspapers on a weekly basis of what was going on. And, now it's a completely different kettle of fish. We're always talking about how the New York media market eats up players and managers and whatever else, when we're talking about that in private conversations I've had with all of you at some stage, right? The global media market will rip Major League Baseball a new backside if they fail to get this done. Now, obviously, negotiations have continued this week, and they've managed to iron out a few bits and pieces, but it still comes down to money. And I know that's exactly what Gaskins is about to rear up and say, but they need to sort this out. And the fact that the Players Association is showing their belly and throwing the minor leaguers underneath the bus yet again, in I think the 15th CBA in a row, it's kind of like, what? Gaskins, come on. Tell me I'm wrong with something.
I just can't understand why you're pissed. I've been telling you the same thing for the last 5 shows. You haven't listened to me yet. The same exact thing.
I'm annoyed. I'm allowed to be annoyed about the sport that I enjoy, right, and the sport that I want to watch and I want to.
And you want to talk about this is a bad way to start off negotiations? No, a bad way to start off negotiations is locking them out when you didn't have to.
Well, that's true. I know you're not wrong there, actually, to be fair.
I mean, so they haven't started. You haven't seen the negotiations yet. All this is just noise. Again, once it starts hitting both of them in the purse, then they'll start negotiating then.
Well,
all this
posturing. The thing is, the posturing is basically pissing off fans, well, myself included. I mean, Dan Halen needs to be shot. Dan Halen needs to be shot out of a cannon into the sun, along with Rob Manfred, quite frankly, and some Major League Baseball owners. Trust me when I tell you, these people are going to ruin the sport.
Did you say Van Halen?
No, Dan Halen.
Oh, okay. It's the accent.
Don't this close this week, Gaskins. I'm this close. Jason, I know you're laughing at me in the corner there.
Well, because I'm like, it's frustrating, and I get it's frustrating, but obviously super frustrating. But I'm also like, dude, yeah, until spring training starts to come around and all that, all you're gonna hear is stuff that doesn't really matter,
Summer training.
Here's my thing with this. It's all of it matters, because until they get this shit sorted, and there's one for the swear jar, until they get this stuff sorted, right? Literally, you can't have a spring training. There are a ton of high-value free agents still out there on the market that are twiddling in the wind. And, they can't talk contracts. They can't talk, minor, they can talk minor league deals, but your Freddie Freemans, your Anthony Rizzos, your Chris Bryants, your Carlos Correas, your Carlos Rodones, these guys, that's, the top 5, I think, remaining players, except maybe Trevor Story's our top 6. These guys are not going to agree to any kind of minor league deal. I think one of these guys will, if there's a serious lockout, one of these guys disappears over to Japan for a year. That's how ridiculous this is going to get to me. So it's kind of like, this is the thing. I mean, this week they were on about the Players Association want to up the 2022 season's luxury tax threshold to $245 million, right? I think it's a great idea. You put in a hard floor of $100 million, which is something they've been discussing before anyway. You max it out to like a cap like 245. Every team then has no choice but to compete, and it eliminates one of the worst things in baseball, which is tanking. I hate tanking. The Tigers have been doing it for years. The Orioles are doing it currently. The Astros tanked. The Astros tanked their way into a World Series contending team. I absolutely hate tanking. It's one of the, much like the shift, it's one of the worst things to happen in baseball. It really
Detroit
does.
Lions are tanking too.
Don't even talk. We'll get to those idiots in a minute. All right. Yeah. This week, Detroit Lions fans have annoyed me, and I will get to that at some point. But the Players Association have said, this year, $245 million luxury tax threshold, with it being increased to $273 million total by 2026, which is obviously the end of the 5-year term of the CBA. Now, in a drastic comparison, well, not even in a drastic complete opposite end from what the owners want, which I think was 214 million this year, going up to no further than 220 by the end of the 5-year term. Now, obviously, the owners are in it to make a buck, and they don't want to spend money. We all know that. But I think that if there were to be a hard floor of $100 million that you have to spend on payroll, which I think would be a great thing for the league anyway, I think a hard cap at about 250, 255 for the next few years, I'd be happy with that, because you'd then force teams like the Pittsburgh Pirates, you'd force teams like the Orioles to start going out and buying, top-rated players and not having to, not languishing. Because the Players Association this week has also come out with this whole bottom 8 draft lottery nonsense. Now, I hate this. I really do. The draft lottery is absolutely killing NBA. I don't like it there. I'm pretty sure they've got a similar version in the NHL, which just doesn't work. It's lopsided. It favors certain teams. And quite frankly, it's an abomination of a rule. If you were going to do, for me, if you're going to do something like a draft lottery, scrap that completely. Why don't you do 8 teams, the bottom 8 teams in all of the divisions, straight out, 8-team shootout? The same time you would have the wild card games. They're already talking about expanding playoffs in Major League Baseball anyway. Why not cut the idea? The top 8 picks are up for grabs, but you've got to win an 8-team shootout. 1 game, 1 knockout, and then you play through to whatever. Am I wrong in thinking that's a good idea?
But you got to win to get that top pick.
You've got to win to get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, not lose to get it.
Yeah, exactly. Which gives more teams incentive to win.
It's not a bad thought, but it's not going to happen. That's more like softball or your barnyard leagues.
Barnyard leagues, really? I mean, it's a viable alternative to a draft lottery that will quite easily still probably be screwed over anyway. Gaskins, am I wrong here?
No, I ain't arguing with you. You already riled up enough, so no, you're right.
You just on this particular one, you're going to agree with me.
No, it's a good thought, but I agree with Canada. Just it ain't happening.
But why not?
Just,
I mean,
it's
seriously, why not? Here's the thing: it would make teams money. It would make the league money. It would make the playoffs, both sides of the playoffs look exciting, and everybody's in something to win something. That's not. How does that not sell itself?
It's got legs, but it ain't going nowhere.
God damn it, you Yanks are a pain.
I agree. And hey, find your tinfoil hat again, because Manfred ain't having it.
Nope.
It's an idea that would make the league money, make owners money. Think of the gate receipts for these things. I mean, teams are already seeing record lows in certain cities anyway. These games would actually mean something. Jason.
It would mean something, but like those fans, obviously I remember the Lions 0-17 season where people were showing up with the paper bags over their heads. Like, I think the crowds that they would get would not be what you want to see for supporting the sport.
I don't know. I think it would be very interesting. It would actually maybe breathe a little life into the game of baseball. And I love that kind of TV, because quite honestly, watching there's two guys I keep seeing in clips on YouTube from the MLB that dress up as umpires. Those guys do a better job than some umpires in the major leagues themselves. I swear to God. So that's the sort of stuff I could get behind on national TV for a baseball game. I really could. Paper bags on their heads? Why not? Give them the umpiring job, because Angel Hernandez ain't any good at it. And finally, we got rid of Joe West. Jeez, I mean, seriously, they've got to come up with something that makes sense. this draft lottery on that the players are pushing for is going to just be abused, and you're going to see the same teams all the time in the top 8 picks just trying to vie it out on a spreadsheet. That's not how you do things. Make them earn it. Make teams like the Tigers that stunk for the past 6 years. Yes, I'm a fan, but under the Alavila tenure, they gutted the World Series contending roster. They trashed, the legacies of a couple of decent players, including Miggy, and by not making him stay fit, and they've tanked their way into top picks that blind squirrels could make as a GM. I digress because I've started talking about Avila and I shouldn't. It gets my blood pressure up, I know. But incentivize the number 1 pick. How does that not sell itself? Seriously, I mean, I can't be the only person that thinks this. Anybody in the comments at the end of this, please let me know. I can't be the only one. All right.
Please let him know.
Please, I'm begging you. I can't be the only sane person on this show. I'm already surrounded by 3 freaking lunatics. All right. Anyway, go on.
I just want to add one thing to the show. Can we have a running blood pressure monitor
when talking about Alavila, it'd probably be a good idea, to be fair. I mean, my blood pressure does tend to go up through the roof a little bit talking about that ass clown. That ass clown needs shooting. It again is another one that needs shooting out of the cannon into the sun. All right. AAA baseball. The AAA affiliates of the Rockies, White Sox, the Padres, the Athletics, the Diamondbacks, the Rangers, Giants, Angels, Astros, and the Mariners have all agreed in the last week or so to trial run automatic strike zones. Now, I know this has been coming. It's been in independent ball for a little while. It was the last 3 years or so. It's been trialed in low A balls for affiliates across the United States. I believe it's also been in use down in Mexico in a couple of places, but I'd have to check. I'm not sure how comfortable I am about a computer calling balls and strikes. Really, really not. As much as I hate the Angel Hernandezes of the world or the Joe Wests of the world, who are atrocious at the job, and thankfully one of them is now retired, I don't think you replace the human element that is an umpire. Then who else are you going to have? I mean, then who are you going to be able to argue with and hate? I mean, as much as I hate them, I enjoy hating them. Does that make sense? So nope. I'm not sure I like the idea of robot umps. I'm really not.
Right here, this puts you on the hot seat. Which way is it? Is it the Angel Hernandez and the human aspect of things that make mistakes? Or is it the computer that's going to make mistakes?
Yeah, but
you're not going to be happy either way. Okay, so right, which way would you rather go?
I hear you on this one, right? And I understand it, right? Angel Hernandez is historically bad at his job and has been for a very, very, very long time.
Okay, but do you think there's not going to be other umpires that have
Joe West? Yeah, but the thing we're talking about the two most notorious worst umpires in baseball in the last 20 years, right? These two are the top 2 contenders for umpire of the douchebaggeriness. But right, yeah, they're both joint winners, right? But the fact of the matter is, right, when an actual normal umpire, the one that's not in there to make a name for himself or herself or whatever it is, right, when they throw somebody out, they've legitimately 90 times out of 10 got a reason for doing it, right? I respect those umpires because they do a hell of a job. It's not an easy job. I've done it myself. And quite honestly, robot umpires are fallible, hackable for starters. The security behind those things, I don't know what would entail, but quite frankly, we've all seen trash can gate. How easy is it for people like the Astros to maybe hack into the system and say, "Oh, that's a ball, that's a ball, that's a ball," when it's clearly a strike? There are teams will find ways to screw with this system. Cheating happens. We all know it. But I mean,
Gaskins, where's your helmet?
Gaskins, did you bring your tinfoil hat?
Every week.
I mean, seriously, come on. I mean, come on. You're a purist, Gaskins, like me. Surely you don't like a robot umpire in charge of a game behind the plate.
It's not if, it's when. It's coming, dude. It's going to happen whether we want it to or not. Embrace it. See, blood pressure monitor. That's what I'm telling you. Embrace it.
Yeah, that's not doing any favors.
I'm against it too, but it's coming. So, might as well get used to it.
Yeah, but it's got to pass. I mean, something like that would have to pass through a CBA to get the players to sign off on it. I mean, unless Manfred did what could only be described as a massive overreach and said, "Nah, screw this, bang, this is coming in." And you're like he did with this tacky stuff in the middle of the season last year, which everybody lambasted him for. If you're going to make a rule like that, which was needed, you don't do it halfway through a season. You do it at the end. You don't try and make waves just because you want to make waves. I mean, Manfred would have to be more Manfred-esque than ever to pull a stunt like that. So we'd have to go through a CBA before, and I don't think the players go for it. I really don't.
They will.
What has been the players' feedback in the minor leagues on it?
To be honest with you, I haven't seen a whole lot of any player feedback from the low A balls, but I mean, I highly doubt that you will until we start seeing things happen this season in AAA. I think this year it will be more because it's that higher level of baseball now. I think we start seeing people say, well, they either love it or they hate it. It could be kind of like Marmite over here. You either love it or you don't. So, but I mean, again, yes, Gaskins is probably right. It is probably coming at some point, but I think it's a hell of a long way away because I don't think the system's infallible, because it is. But it's a case of, yeah, as much as I hate the Angel Hernandezes and the Joe Wests of the world, I don't think it's a good idea to have a robot calling baseball games. Sorry, just me. No, I'm not ready yet. Just no.
So stop complaining and just eat your medicine.
Shut up.
You want it.
Yep.
Sorry, man. Come on.
I'm waiting until I see what the players say, because I kind of want to see if they actually think it's a big deal or not.
Well, what medicine is it then, Ken? Come on.
Your Angel Hernandez bull, like it's fine. You picking on one person. Okay, you don't like it. We get it. Okay, two people. Whatever. Two people out of all of it that you know their names. Good job.
Thank you.
But I'm saying is others are gonna screw it up just as bad, if not worse. Sometimes it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean
but you're here. In weeks past, you've gone in and argued that these guys are horrible, whatever. We need to get rid of them. Blah blah blah. Now they're going ahead and got the system to get rid of them, and they're like, whoa, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean that. We're kids it now. Come on, host. Come on now.
Okay, right. First things first. Removing umpires that are in it to make a name for themselves. Absolutely all in on that. Removing all umpires from a baseball game, and that removing the human element from behind the plate. Not a fan of that idea. I want to see good umpires call good games. And 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what happens. You get the occasional few that need to be shot out of a cannon, much like Ken this week. All right. I think we've got a couple of minutes to talk about everybody's favorite Steeler. Can we get Miss Sheila in, please, Mr. Gaskins? We'll talk about Big Ben.
Yep.
All right. Because, hello, is Gaskins going to just disappear for a minute? All right. Obviously, this week, it was officially announced. Hello, Sheila. Hi, welcome to DST. The boys are here. Gaskins, get in the shot, damn it.
What's that? I didn't hear you, Paul.
Hi, Sheila. Welcome to DST. Obviously, this week it was announced that Big Ben Roethlisberger has officially retired. We knew it was coming. As a Steeler,
I knew it was coming, but I don't like it.
It was the worst kept secret in sports. But as a Steelers fan, for you, I mean, what's Big Ben meant to you as a Steelers fan?
I think he's the greatest quarterback of all times.
Wow,
I'll pick him over Brady. I'll pick him over Aaron Rodgers.
It'd be still my beating heart. But no,
2 Super Bowls, 18 years. He's done good for the Steelers.
Fair enough. Where do you think the Steelers go for a quarterback now? They go for the draft, or they make a trade for somebody?
I think they're going to draft somebody.
Okay, fair enough.
They wanted that what's his name, Kenny Pickens, but they don't have first round bye anymore because they went to the playoffs, so they lost their first round.
Okay, fair enough. So you think you that's what you're going to call? You're going to go out there? You reckon the Steelers are going to have to Kenny Pickens?
Well, somebody told me that Pittsburgh was looking at Aaron Rodgers, and I sure as heck hope not.
Oh, Shane in the corner.
I'll be forced to watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I don't like them.
You know what? I think we need to replace Gaskins with Sheena because so far she's on point. But seriously, I mean, I know Big Ben's been a big Steelers guy. I know he's been there for a very long time. I mean, have you met the man? Have you got any fond memories of games that you've attended that you can share with us here?
Well, what I think Ben, it was time for him to retire. He got hit too many times. He hasn't been right since that motorcycle accident.
Fair enough.
It's just been going downhill for him. So I'm glad he won the last game in Pittsburgh. That I was glad to see that.
What's your favorite Big Ben moment then throughout his Steelers career for you, Sheila?
At the very end, when he cried, when he gave his speech and he went around and he was tapping everybody's hand in the stadium and that, and then his wife and kids walked up to him and he reminded me of Mean Joe Green walking down that ramp into the locker room with his wife and kids. I wanted him to take his shirt off and give it to somebody.
Still chasing the younger men then, I see.
Well, I love my Steelers, that's for sure. Win or lose, I don't care.
Fair enough.
I've watched Roethlisberger since he filled in for Tommy Maddox.
Okay. So you basically watched his entire career then?
Yep, I watched every game.
Fair enough.
Even when I was in the hospital for 7 weeks, I fell and broke my knee. I watched it on my telephone.
Well,
I had everybody in that hospital, all them old people in wheelchairs. They was all hollering for the Steelers.
that voice, that there is what is known as a true fan of a team right there. Sheila, you're going to come back to us later on for your lovely vote on Muppet of the Week this week, so we'll have you back in a little while. Guys, we're going to take a quick break and then we will be right back. So thank you very much. All right, welcome back to DST. All right, first things first, because this lot are a bunch of douchebags and I have to give a mea culpa. Shirley, I'm sorry. Gaskins' beautiful mother-in-law. I kept calling her Sheila. It's not my fault. I blame Gaskins. It's all his. You absolute redneck son bitch. There's another one for the swear jar. Thank you very much. So, Shirls, I'm sorry. I will make sure I get it right for when you come back from Muppet of the Week in a minute. All right. Right, NFL recap time, boys. Last weekend was an absolutely amazing weekend for the divisional round. I haven't seen 4 better games all year, quite frankly. We had 2 rock fights, 2 shootouts, some tears were shed, some fans cried, some fans almost rioted because of the state of a certain team, but because of a certain way a team lost. But let's do it. All right, Titans at the Bengals, Titans 16, Bengals 19. First things first, right? I am all about Joe Burrow as hype train right now. Got sacked 9 goddamn times. He tied an all-time playoff record and got up, threw a hell of a pass, he got his team into field goal range. Last second field goal. Gotta love the way that game ended. Titans were a heavy favorite. I think myself and was it you, Jason, that picked myself and you picked the Titans off a bye week, and the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Mixon. You know, they whilst they didn't score a ton, they did enough to get the win. Joe Burrow is one tough son bitch. 9 sacks. I mean, the Titans defense used him as a chew toy. Literally for nine whole sacks. I can't get over how much he was hit. It was really a great game. Really impressive. Anybody got any quick thoughts?
Well, on top of the 9 sacks, he didn't fumble on any of those hits. There was no strip sack. There was no turnover. To me,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, this is what makes me all about the hype train for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and the Bengals right now. Very much in
the
the
rookie kicker.
Hey?
The rookie kicker also.
Oh,
like, he went
Matt,
and told
yeah,
Joe Burrow right
calling the
before.
shot.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like literally like, yeah, I'm hitting that son of a bitch. But yeah, anybody else? Ken, John, anybody? I know you both watched the game. No, none. All right.
I told you, take momentum.
It's what I expect. I mean, I expected it to be a little higher scoring in general, but I mean, Bengals won. Like I didn't see it. I didn't see Tennessee winning. So it's the only game I got right, but you know.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, we're going to move on to the one that's going to make Ken cry like a little schoolgirl. Packers 10, the 49ers with a very, 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 yeah, a very, very surprising 13. This was a rock fight from start to end. What are you doing, Gaskins? Turn your... There it is. The Bernie Sanders, Aaron Rodgers. There it is. I've been waiting for this one. So Rodgers did not do anything in this game for me at all. I mean, just the Packers didn't turn up to this game. I will grant the 49ers, they lucked into a win. The Packers lost more than the 49ers won this game, I'll grant you. But on the big stage, Mr. All About himself couldn't get the job done. Packers lose, 49ers advance. Ken, I know you just bowed your head in solemn silence there for a very, very hard fought loss. But what are your thoughts, buddy? I mean, you're a resident packhead.
Cheesehead. Just
I know.
for the record.
I know.
But no, I mean, 10 points from a Green Bay offense isn't cutting it. Like, there's no excuse on the offensive side. Yes, San Fran's defense is good, no doubt. But 10 points isn't going to get it done against most people. Like, even your Lions can score more than 10. So
the 49ers defense looked like a championship defense in that game. You can't put anything you can't say anything other than that about that game.
No, I not at all.
Yeah,
and
that 49ers defense
of,
came to shut down Aaron Rodgers and that entire O-line from the Packers. And they did it. They did it very successfully.
I'm going to give them more credit because of their defensive backs. There's so many were hurt.
Yeah.
They had so many injuries out there, and he still couldn't get it done. So, I mean, there's a fail there. It's fail on special teams all around.
Yeah.
All around, because Green Bay's defense is the only thing that actually showed up. And they're not known for their defense.
No, they had no choice. I mean, that entire game, they had no choice. If the defense didn't do what their defense did, they could have been 30-10 down quite easily. So,
well, I mean, yeah, I don't think Garoppolo had
you
that.
know what? I think if Jimmy G had a couple more weapons downfield, I think he could have put a 30-burger on the way the Packers played. But that's just me. Gaskins, thoughts on this one?
Green Bay has something in common with Tennessee. The week before they had a bye week. Last week was bye week. For both of them.
Thank you, sir.
But you can't argue with last week. I mean, all 4 games ended on the last play or were decided on the last play of the game. Come on, that's playoffs, man. That's playoffs.
I mean, the first 3 were all decided by a field goal as well. And then you got the shootout to end all shootouts. But we'll get to that in a second. But I mean, for me, on every single game for the entire weekend, it was kind of like you got drama in the Titans Bengals game. Then you got the Packers 49ers, and there's more drama there because it's Rodgers. Then you got the Bucks Rams, and there's more drama there. And then you've got this amazing shootout between the Chiefs and the Bills, and it's just like every game was trying to overdo the drama and beat the last game for it. It was kind of like it was, like I said before as we were starting again. I've not seen 4 games that were better all year in the NFL. And this is why it's playoff football, Jace. I mean, Packers 49ers, I mean, you're going to have in depth on this one because you're a football, legend that is.
So to me, like the Packers driving down the field on the very first drive, getting their touchdown right off the bat, and then going flat, that to me is just crazy. I'm very curious to see what happens all season. Devontae Adams, Rodgers, all of that.
Rodgers is gone. Rodgers, there's no way Rodgers is going back to the Packers. It's just not happening. I heard rumors of a trade going to New Orleans that New Orleans have pulled the plug on because they were interested for about 3 seconds, then realized he was an idiot. And they didn't need the kind of distractions off the field. And this is coming from reliable sources in New Orleans, believe it or not, as well. And obviously some press down there. Oh, yeah, I've got friends. So, yeah, the Saints pulled out of a trade option with the Packers for Rodgers.
Green Bay did lose their offensive coordinator. The Broncos hired him as a head coach.
Head coach as well, yeah. I mean, there's managerial positions flying open left, right, and center. I mean, there's lots of things in the offseason to look at. The Lions have got 12 lovely draft picks coming up because it was announced this week they got 3 compensatory draft picks to go with the 9 that they already had, which gives Brad Holmes quite a lot of fun tokens to play with as well. So, but Packers 49ers, it was a rock fight. The defenses both played a hell of a game. I mean, Packers defense had no choice, but it was a good game all around. Bucks Rams, Brady. I got to talk a bit about Brady because I swear I wasn't me, Gaskins. I did not put some form of voodoo curse on the man wanting him to beat Stafford. I needed him to beat him. I wanted him to beat him, but I did not curse him. He came back from a 24-point deficit to bring it to 27-all. And no other quarterback that I can think of in the last 20 years will be able to lead a team like that, like Brady did on Sunday. Brady will go down as the all-time GOAT. Stafford lucked in to a 3-point victory here. Cooper Kupp saved his ass with 2 Hail Mary passes that, quite frankly, had no business being called. But, the Rams got to, 27-3, took their foot off the gas. All of a sudden, the Bucks start coming back. Stafford looking like the Stafford we saw in Detroit, and then all of a sudden, 2 Hail Mary passes to get him into field goal range made it a hell of a lot easier for this kicker. 3-point win. 27 Bucks, 30 for the Rams. That's all she wrote. Is Brady done? Is my question at this point, Gaskins? You're our resident Bucks fan down here. Brady, has he got one more year?
For one, I'm a Falcons fan, so I don't want to hear about comebacks. Nope, don't want to hear about it. Especially when you got them 28-3 at halftime. So nope, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
What I can't understand is they wanted to establish the run when Brady broke all kind of passing records this year, and you want to establish, do what got you there. What got you there and throw the damn ball. I know you don't want Aaron Donald coming at you every snap, but you've handled, pass rushers all year long. Do what got you there. And I just couldn't understand why they were trying to establish the run.
Yeah, we were talking about this during the game.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but
they wasted 3 possessions.
Yeah.
And also, too, if you look at the end of the game, there was twice when they were in field goal range, and because they were down so much, decided to give up the 3 points. Easy chip shot 3 points, and then ended up not getting any points, and then they missed the field goal. So there's 9 points right there when the game always tells you take the points. You know, if they would have taken both of those field goals, might not have been there.
Fair enough. Jace?
Well, it's funny you mentioned the coaching change earlier because Leftwich, the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay, is going to Jacksonville. And that is a very curious thing to me for Brady because Arians gave him so much leeway with Brady that I'm kind of curious who's going to come in if Brady doesn't get a pick. I think he will retire.
Do you think Brady might be done?
Yeah, but if he gets to pick his offensive coordinator, He'll probably give it one more run, but I think it's like 50-50. And if he doesn't get to pick the guy, I think he's done.
Fair enough. I mean, Brady's been given a hell of a lot of leeway when it comes to staffing changes. We all know he brought Antonio Brown in. He got Gronk to come out of retirement, and they made a trade for him. I mean, Brady's got a lot of pull down there in Tampa anyway. So never say never. It's one of those things with Brady. You never say never. I mean, he's going to be, what, 45 next year? I mean, has he got the legs in underneath him is my question.
And my apologies, Paul, I didn't answer. No, I think he's going to retire. They brought all 22 starters back from the Super Bowl team this year. That's never been done before.
Yeah.
There's no way they can keep the whole team together for another year. So I think he and Gronk both are gone.
Fair enough. Ken?
Yeah, I mean, lots of what I've read, and they're putting it more on the wife. You know, what the wife wants, the wife gets.
Always gotta blame the wife.
But I agree with Jason too that you know, having to break in another offensive coordinator for how he wants to run things, because you're not going to come in as a new offensive coordinator and tell Brady what to do. It just is not going to happen.
No, the dude's
You know,
been around.
I mean,
since,
especially
with
with Arians
at this point.
Right. Well, with Arias giving him the, you know, his whatever he wants. I mean, so I tend to agree with both the guys that Brady and Gronk are probably both done, because Gronk's not coming back without Brady for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think Brady comes back without Gronk either. But there you go. All right, Chiefs Bills in the shootout of the week. This was back and forth for the majority of the game. Bills lost in a heartbreaker in overtime, and 13 seconds to go. They're up by a field goal. Mahomes is on his own 25. He's got, I think it was 2 timeouts at the time. I may be wrong. He might have had 3. It was Jason 2. It was 2, was it? 13 seconds.
3, I can't remember.
There was 13 and 2, I believe. And they go down the field, they score a field goal, they send it to overtime, and then they win the toss. They take the ball, they run it straight down the other end, and then they score on what can be considered an iffy touchdown. Now, I know me and Jason had a conversation about this as it happened on Monday night or Monday morning for me and Sunday night for him, but I'm still not completely 100% convinced that he had complete control of that ball when he came into the end zone, myself personally. But they called it on the field. It was a rule of touchdown. Bills Mafia, who were stellar the week before, were Josh Allen, who led a team who was stellar this weekend, with 13 seconds to go, up by 3, thinking that's it, I'm through to a title final. Fantastic. And all of a sudden to see Pat Mahomes go down the other end and go like that, I was just like, it's got to be heartbreaking for the man. This brings me to a salient point about the overtime rule is an absolute atrocity of a joke. Boys and girls, this is the equivalent of FIFA's golden goal in the World Cup before it was abolished. They, one score, that's it, job done. If you score on the first drive and you score a touchdown, that's it, game over. FIFA had the same thing in extra time for games that drew in World Cups and European Championships and whatever else. If the first team to score, it was sudden death. I understood that, but it was also deemed unfair. Now, what FIFA did was they said, okay, 15-minute half an hour extra time. There you go. So if you score a goal in between that extra 30 minutes of half time in actual football, at the end of those 30 minutes, whoever's got the most will win. If not, you'll go to a penalty shootout. Fair enough. Completely get it. It was a rule change that was needed to be made in the world of football to make it fair for both teams. The NFL needs to do something similar. 15 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, overtime rules, literally. Go down the field, and then whoever's got the most points after those 10, 15 minutes, whatever, that's it. That's how you, and then after that, you go increments on kicking. You go 45, 50, 55-yard line, first and miss, something of that ilk with the kickers, and then put it on the kicker's shoulders. the overtime rule in the NFL stinks. And I, for one, am really, really, really miffed for Josh Allen and the Bills because they did not deserve to lose the way that they lost. I was just outright just crap. It really was. Other than that, it was a great game. I mean, it was one hell of a game to cap off the weekend. It really was. But that left a sour taste in a lot of Bills fans' mouths. I know for a fact that for the neutrals, it was kind of a shitty way to end. But Jace, thoughts on the game? Thoughts on the overtime rule?
Dude, one game was greatest game of the week, probably greatest game of the year that I've watched. It was awesome. Two, it to me showed the importance of coaching because, you know, Andy Reid had those guys ready to go, especially after the Dallas Cowboys fiasco week before. It was such a drastic difference. The way they approached it, the way they ran up, the way they're calling the timeouts. So to me, the coaching was how well they had them prepared was really the difference to me. I'm fine with the overtime rule too, because dude, if you can't get a stop on a touchdown in that, you deserve to lose. It's what happens.
See, I thought you might be the one salient, sane voice in the room, other than myself, but you are a traitorous dog. Gaskins.
No.
Well, thank God for Kansas City, or the home teams wouldn't have been so homely.
Yeah, I was going to say that was, but the other thing, Kansas City being literally the only team from that were at home that won this weekend.
And I've noticed a theme with you, Paul.
Oh God!
When something doesn't go your way, it all of a sudden needs to be fixed, and it's broken, and
I think
just
it's a
do
crap
away
rule.
with it.
I've seen the overtime rule a couple of times in effect this year. The Lions had I think one of 4 teams that had draws this year, and because they obviously made field goals and stops in an overtime game, so it ended up in a draw anyway in the regular season. But I've seen overtime games this season where the least deserving of the team have actually won the game because they managed to win it in overtime. I don't think the rule is right. I think if you're a better team from the majority of the game, like some of them have, I mean, like the Bills were in this game for a long time during the fourth quarter, especially, they were the better team and they deserved to take the win. The fact that they got what can only be described as screwed in overtime, for me anyway. I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. But my opinion is one of many, and a lot of Bills fans will agree with me this week, I'm sure. Come on, what else you got?
No, that's good. I agree with you. It was just the greatest game of the week. And after the Bucks lost, I'm like, looking bad for the home team. And I was hoping because I picked them, so I'm glad they pulled it out.
Yeah, we'll get to the picks in a minute. Ken.
Again, I'm gonna fourth it on this one. Like, it was one of the greatest games that I've watched this year for sure. It was sad to see it end, and it was kind of melodramatic at the end.
Yeah.
First team with the ball just goes and scores. The other team just is fire as the Bills were. Their offense, they get nothing out of it. And so, like, I'm with you to see it changed. I would like to see it a little more like college, but tweak it with the entire field.
Yeah.
A little bit more like that, where you just keep going. Let's see some 6 OTs in NFL. I'm down. I mean, it'd be kind of nuts, but I'm down.
Fair enough. All right, so that obviously brings us to this week's games. You got the AFC title game, Bengals Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are minus 7.5 point favorites. The over/under is 54.5. Now, if memory serves last week's picks, I do believe Gaskins went 2 for 2 in the West. The rest of us went 1 for 4.
1 for 3.
1 and 3. 1 and 3. Sorry, yeah.
British math.
I believe
that's that metric system.
Yeah, I know, and I do believe that gives Mr. Gaskins a 2-game advantage over the rest of us currently. This is me. Hopefully you fail this week. Right, so Bengals Chiefs, Kansas City favored by 7.5. The over/under is 54.5. I am not gonna pick. I'm gonna abstain this week, I think. I've got to be honest with the way that the Pat Mahomes and the coaching staff for the Chiefs had them geared up the way they did against the Bills. Bengals defense worries me in this game. As much as I'm on board with Burrows and Chase and Mixon on that offense for the Bengals, I worry about that Bengals defense. It could turn into a slaughterhouse for me. I think the over's good in this game. I think Kansas City are good for the points as well. I'm going to go KC. Ken?
Kansas City.
Points?
I mean, Kansas City in points? Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's Kansas City. Like, I don't think – I don't see Bengals defense the way you do at all.
Right, you don't think they might crumble under the pressure and get scored on a ton?
Oh, I see. I took it as you were like saying that they might actually show up.
No, they may very well show up, but quite honestly, they terrify the hell out of me, and I'm worried that this could turn into a slaughterhouse for the Bengals, and they could end up getting drunk.
Oh, okay.
50. Yeah, this is
See, I thought you were worried that they might actually rise up or something. Okay.
I got what happens when you open those ears? You see all these sideburns.
Clarification. Well,
he's still working on his English.
Language barrier.
All right, you're taking Kansas City in the points. Gaskins, who you got?
Hey, Ken, the Brit's still working on his English. Be patient with him.
Shut up.
Right.
As it's midnight for Cinderella. Kansas City to cover.
Kansas City to cover. Fair enough. Go on, Jace. Where are you at with this one?
It's tough because Cincinnati actually beat KC in the regular season, but I think that's because Jamar Chase had his 200 and some yards, and I don't think Kansas City will let them do that again. So I'm also going Kansas City.
Fair enough. All right, and then is it the NFC title game? I believe I've got that right from my notes because I'm not well versed with the titles, if that makes sense. 49ers versus the Rams. The Rams are 3.5-point favorites. The over/under is 45.5. It pains me to say this, but I'm pretty sure that Cinderella's done here as well. I think Jimmy G and the 49ers, even with that championship defense, I don't think they have what it takes to get rid of the fun toys that Stafford's got in LA. I think that he's got, with OBJ starting to find a groove with Stafford and Stafford having all those weapons, it's kind of like Cooper Kupp may or may not save his ass again this week. I don't know. But I picked against Stafford 2 weeks on the run, hoping he fails miserably. This week, I'm going for reverse psychology. I'm taking Stafford and the Rams and the points and still praying that he loses. But, I think there were too many weapons in LA. I genuinely think they're a Super Bowl contending team. I think that, quite frankly, I still don't like Stafford, but you have to see inevitability when it's staring you right in the face, and there are just too many weapons on that LA O-line. It's LA and the points, and that's where my vote's going. So, Jace, you start this one.
All right. I'm going to disagree with you.
Holy crap! You're going to take on Jimmy?
Because I think Kittle, Debo, Elijah Mitchell, Ayuk, San Fran has some weapons. Also, San Fran has beaten the Rams 6 times in a row. So I'm picking them to make it 7 in a row.
Oh, you know what? See, I didn't know about the 6 previous. So, and Stafford has this tendency to throw a pick 6, which is something he hasn't done so far in the last 2 games, which honestly, on my bingo card, is the only thing missing from a full house in the playoff full house bingo card. So, no, I'm going to stick with my original thoughts. I think Stafford, unfortunately, gets to the Super Bowl as undeserving as he is. But I like the fact that they lost 6 times previous. So, but the last 2, 3 were with Goff though as QB.
This year they beat him twice. One to make the playoffs at the end of the year, where the Rams choked at the end of the game. Basically, they had the lead. San Fran took it back and won, and then they beat Stafford earlier in the year too.
Okay, see, I didn't know that because I hadn't really, to be honest with you, I try not to pay attention too much to the Rams if I can help it. Gaskins?
Well, from the days of Kurt Warner, it looks like the greatest show on turf is back. Rams to cover.
Fair enough, Ken.
Man, you know, like I'm the story behind Stafford making it would be nice. And I'm not a Jimmy G fan, but I'm going to go ahead and say the 49ers will beat them the 7th time. And I think there's too many, still too many eyes on the Rams team. I do.
Okay, fair enough. All right, as always, we end this week with everybody's favorite segment, and this week's it is Muppet of the Week. I did have some injury reports for a lot of the teams for this week, but to be honest with you, I don't care. There's no real massive names for the injuries this week, except maybe Trent Williams for the 49ers, who's out with an ankle injury. Elijah Mitchell, we've got Wilson Jr. for them as running backs. Sorry, it's Tavon Wilson that's out, the safety for the 49ers. He's the only real big name on any injury reports. And a lot of people are questionable for all the teams, really, except for the Chiefs, who seem to have just minor guys that are missing from, toe turf and a few other bits and pieces. So we'll get straight into Muppet of the Week, boys. This week, we've got ourselves 4 options and 5 votes. I'm going to run through them all. Is our guest of honor coming back, John?
She can't. She's gone for now.
Okay, fair enough. Right. So, a couple of things this week. Dan Orlovsky is easily somebody should always have a friend like Dan Orlovsky. I won't deny this. Goes on national TV on Monday morning, being literally swinging from Matt Stafford's junk all over your national television, whatever. Claiming he's the next best since Brady, and saying he was right all along. And again, everybody should have a friend like Dan Orlovsky. But the bit that makes him a Muppet for me this week is when he takes off his sports jacket and gets into this Maverick Top Gun flight jacket and starts prancing around the studio like an absolute bellend. Can't do it. Don't want to do anything with it. Yes, bellend. I said those words. He was an absolute Muppet. So Orlovsky is your first choice this week, boys. Second choice is, Ken's going to hate me for this one, but Rodgers, again, he gets brought up more often than anybody. Rodgers this week has been reported saying that the reason why the Packers lost is because the fans were rooting against him because of his vaccination status. This is an actual God Almighty. No, this is an actual report that I read in several places. These are the words that came out of his mouth. He's a Muppet for saying it because, again, he's just trying to make it all about him. The man needs to just disappear into the sunset and go, film his commercials. He goes on the list. Simple. Then I get but if Aaron Rodgers can come up on this show as weekly as he does, this guy also comes up a lot as well. And this guy is always a pain in the ass anyway, and should probably end up in the, the scumbag hall of shame at some point. I'm sure he will. Antonio Brown, Tuesday night, HBO's Real Sports, with his lawyer of all people, threatening to sue the Bucks for defamation after the Bucks offered him $200K to go to rehab. And he puts it like, they offered me X amount of dollars to go to the loony bin. How much of a Muppet do you have to be to threaten to sue a National Football League team that is trying to help you with your mental capacity and health? You absolute Muppet. But for me, and this is the one that I will be championing this week, it's Lions fans. Lions fans this week, I have had more than my fair share of ups and downs with. I posed a question in our Facebook group this week that, are realistic Lions fans annoyed at the fact that Stafford's winning? are they still cheering and rooting for Stafford while he's with the Rams to just go and win a Super Bowl? And a not so silent majority, for some ungodly reason, have decided that I have my head up my own backside because I'm not a Stafford guy and I don't cheer on every pass that he throws. And apparently I'm not a true Lions fan because I don't support Stafford, who's playing at the other side of the goddamn country. So Lions fans this week have not only annoyed me, but they also make my Muppet of the Week nominations list because, quite frankly, if you can cheer for a quarterback that is still 10 months after being traded, sticking it to your team by costing you a higher draft pick in the draft this year, not this number 2 pick, that number, that number 28 to number 32 pick now, because that's where it's going to end up landing. You could end up at the back end of the first round because Stafford decided he wanted to go and try and play football somewhere else. We're talking about a quarterback that after 3 seasons of winning football stayed silent when a regime decided to tear down, push out talent, and keep his mouth shut. The only time he opened his trap in 12 years was to demand a trade to LA, of all places. And the Fours, because they were so magnanimous and they didn't want to have another Megatron on their hands, decided to acquiesce to the request and send him off to LA packing with, with first-class tickets on the next flight out. Lions fans that defend this man, can't help you. You've got your baggage. You enjoy yourselves. It goes on Muppet of the Week for me. Lions fans go on Muppet of the Week for me for that one. I'm done with my moaning this week. So what are your thoughts, boys? Anybody want to add something into the mix other than me, Gaskins? Because I know you're already thinking about asking to put my name on that list and bitch you.
You should be on there for all the conspiracy theories.
See,
I second that nomination.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you don't get a vote on that one.
If you messed up,
I want to go ahead and put out there that Rodgers, yes, he said that a lot of people were rooting for him to lose due to his vaccination status. Not that they made him lose. Just
I've read at least two reports this week that he stated that the reason why they lost is because the fans were rooting against him.
Yes, but your reports come from Globe Magazine and Star Magazine.
Actually, one of them was from Audacity.com, so eat those words. Then that's an American-only website that I have to use a VPN for. All right. Go on.
One other thing with Detroit fans, you got to understand. You of all people should understand that this is the closest you can smell to a Super Bowl.
No.
Stafford's job of all places.
You know what? I'm calling it now, right? I swear to God, I'm calling it now. The Lions will be Super Bowl contenders within the next 3 to 5 years. And I'll tell you the reason why. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell has instilled a winning mentality in this franchise for the first time in a decade.
What head coach?
Hang on. I'm not done. Brad Holmes is easily the smartest GM the Lions have had in 3 decades.
And that ain't saying much at all.
No, it isn't saying much at all. But you look at the talent that he drafted when he was in LA himself, right? Brad Holmes is the man that's going to build this roster around a decent quarterback that he'll either draft or trade for. I reckon the reason why I won that pick at the back end of the first round that was the Rams now belongs to the Lions as high as I possibly can, so they can go out and go and get a 2-up, for Christ's sake.
You just answered my question. You just answered my question.
Which was?
Is pot legal in the UK? Because you're high, dude.
All right. Anyway, with my ranting, Muppet of the Week. So Orlovsky being a Muppet on national TV, thumbs up, thumbs down. Down. Aaron Rodgers and the fans hate me because I'm unvaxxed, and that's the reason why we lost. I'm putting a thumbs up for that one anyway, regardless of what everybody else puts down. Yeah. Antonio Brown, because he's stupid as usual. I know he was going to get my vote. Yeah. And Lions fans, we can have a joint winner this week. Anybody want to disagree with me about Lions fans that decide that they want to? Really? Is this just because I went off on a tangent about the pick, wanting the pick to be high enough? Really?
Look, you go off on a tangent on anything. It just,
Yep.
you know, you need to get laid, man.
I'm going home in the morning. All right.
Just saying.
All right. Again, all right. All right, okay. So thanks very much for enjoying this episode of DST. All the links for the Facebook groups, our Twitter accounts are in the description below. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons to keep up with everything that the four of us are up to. We're all on Facebook. Most of us are on Twitter, except for the technophobe in the corner with the dodgy hair. Thanks again very much to Shirley for a little brief talk on the Steelers this week. And we look forward to hopefully seeing her again at some point as well in the not too distant future. Guys, as always, thanks for coming along and having a laugh. I hope you've had fun this week, boys. And I believe that is us done for another week. See you guys next week. Peace.